Folks, for the first time in a long time, I honestly actually do not remember this. All three of us with a clean sweep in cash games on DraftKings.com. Basically, honestly, a no sweat day once. Well, it was a no sweat day if you knew what Sammy and I knew, which was that Trey McBride was always going to score a touchdown on the final drive of the game for the
Yes,
Cardinals.
but don't lie to the people here, Davis. Don't lie and don't say you didn't send a dude. We need to swap at like 12:30
Well,
Pacific Standard Time.
for sure, seeing the ownerships, we for sure would have had to have swapped because McBride was less than 50% owned. Now I don't know what. Well, turns out, I guess the thing to have done was swap off Jeanty, but there wasn't even anything to swap to. There was not like, I guess we could have swapped to Ty Johnson or something. But yeah, it was so this was a very interesting day in cash games because there was a bunch of stuff that projected super similarly, starting with quarterback, because there was, depending on what you put into your projection provider of choice, you were getting Burrow or you were getting Lawrence. Now I don't know what you guys thought, but did you guys consider just playing Jacoby? Just being like, I mean, come on, it's Jacoby.
I thought about it, but man, it's kind of like, you leave some food out on the counter. It was really good, and then you're like, oh, I'll eat some of that later, and you leave it out on the counter, and you go back to it, and you're like, it's starting to turn a little bit. I think that's Jacoby Brissett. It's starting to turn.
Jacoby is the Thanksgiving
day 4 of Christmas cookies. Like the first day, it's like those Christmas cookies were lit. By day 4, it's like this is soft and like I don't even know if this is supposed to be hard. It's gross.
I was thinking it's the Jacoby is the Thanksgiving turkey. It's like December 1st. And you're like, dude, this has been in the refrigerator for a week. You know what is funny? I actually did consider Tyler Shuck. That was like the last thing that I looked at on my stream this morning. Was like, if you get to Shuck, the thing was, I mean, we've been talking about this for like the last month of the show. There's basically not been a playable guy on DraftKings besides Jacoby Myers between 4,000 DraftKings dollars and 6,000 DraftKings dollars. Like, it's horrible. Like, there's just no one you want to play. So like this team that I played, it was like, okay, well, I could have done Shuck, but then going from Meyer to what? Right. So you even punt like, oh, I take the Panthers D. I go up from Meyer to what? There's
because
really.
Taysom, the only other guy was Taysom at 2,700, and he played in the morning.
Yeah. So I thought, I mean, I obviously, so this is the team that I played. I played Trevor Lawrence, Ashton, Jeanty, Travis Etienne Jr., Tre Tucker, Jamar Chase, Jacoby Myers, Trey McBride, Michael Mayer, and the Steelers defense. So other running backs I considered, I did momentarily consider Michael Carter, and then I was like, that is just way too many eggs. And yeah, it was way too many eggs. I
considered Michael Carter hard.
And it really didn't have.
Thank you to the head-to-head players who also considered and played Michael Carter. That was helpful.
Yeah, the Michael Carter thing was like, okay, well, you're really just hoping that he, one, accidentally falls into the end zone for something that was intended for Trey McBride, or that he catches like 6 checkdowns. And that was when the Jacoby badness started to reek into my brain. I'm like, I don't know, man, what am I really trying to do? And I thought Mayer, like in terms of punt tight ends, really doesn't get better than Michael Mayer. Former second round pick. He's going to be on the field every play. The entire offense is designed around throwing to the position that he plays, because he's going to, what happens when Bowers is out, and we have already seen this year, is that Meyer switches positions and then Ian Thomas takes over Michael Mayer's position. Like, we already know that's happening.
The Mayer less than 50 to 60, 70% owned in cash is unacceptable to me.
It's wild.
It's wild. 17, we get Michael Mayer at 2,500. This isn't even like a 4K Michael Mayer, like, oh, he's priced at a place where, no, I mean, he's 2,500 and he was only like 60% owned in cash games.
Crazy times. It doesn't make sense. I know.
What are people doing?
I don't know. By the way, Davis, on your screen there, it says it's been a while since you went to Legendary Upside. Click the button to refresh your session. I figured it's been like 3 weeks since you've been there because all your best ball teams are dead? Is that
No, I actually kind of have a sweat on one of
Yeah?
them.
No
Yeah,
shit.
well, not like I don't have Henry, but like I could make a couple grand if the
Well, you have mini Henry, right? You have Bill.
I do. I have a bill team that is that can generate some cash. Nate, speaking of people who should be tilted, Nate, you and I should be tilted.
That team was literally like, this was the week 17 that you pray for with that team. We had like the JSN Tet correlation. We had Trey McBride in the game of the week. We had this Philadelphia.
We're still top.
We're dead.
No, we're dead, but we're still top 100 in the whole thing with 97 points this week. Like you
realize that James Cook and Saquon could have gone off. Like if you couldn't have written a better matchup script for these two. And like
no,
being in this game with JSN and Tet like correlation, this game we should have been counting dollars in the top 10.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's sickening stuff. Like we got 6 points from Barkley. We got literally 1.5 points from Tet. We got 8 points from James Cook.
Maybe we get a nice Juwan game with.
I mean, these things are so top heavy. Like it's like it doesn't even matter unless we get top 10. But anyway, back to the team. So obviously, the thing that sticks out like a sore thumb was we all played $6,100 Ashton Jeanty, 31 points against the Houston Texans, best defense in the NFL last week. Racks up a nice 9.3 fantasy points here. And you know what? Like the worst fear that you could have had, which is that like he got benched in a tank job, didn't even happen. He got a 24-yard run on the final or the final drive of the game. Like it was like the fifth to last play of the game. He played the entire game. He was out there. The Giants still suck. Like, I mean, I guess he was probably a pretty good tournament fade just based on how wide the range of outcomes was. Like, he's a Raider. The Raiders' offensive line is terrible. They could have just benched him in the middle of the game. I never considered not playing.
It feels like this Raiders narrative stuff. People didn't understand that Pete Carroll's the head coach. Like, Jeanty's going to be out there. Pete Carroll is not about he wants to win. They
gave him a 24-yard rush when they were down 24 points. They got the ball back with like 3 minutes left. And for some reason, he's still on the field.
He's not.
Like, why is he on the field?
Carroll's not part of the tanking. If you listen to any of the interviews this week about Max Crosby, he was legit as pissed as Max Crosby was.
Yeah, Pete Carroll does not tank.
A chance to win the game. The guy that you should have faded if you were playing the Raiders tank is Tre Tucker, because you would have said, oh, they're not going to be able to pass efficiently and Geno sucks and everything else. But like, you don't fade Jeanty when Pete Carroll's his coach.
No, I didn't think about not playing Jeanty in cash for a second.
He just projected way too good. And the problem with Jeanty, clearly, you look at all the advanced metrics, he passes the eye test. The problem clearly is that the Raiders can't get space in the running game, but the Giants are theoretically a really good matchup. They're one of the weakest run defenses. So you figured if you had any room to run against any team, it would be the Giants. So everybody played him. They should have played him. He was 6,100. I mean, it was a free square, and he just didn't do shit because the Raiders suck. What are you going to do?
Now, the chalk running back that I felt much worse about, which I think you played, Sam. Yeah, you played Tyrone Tracy. I was very weary of Tracy. One, because the Giants offense, I mean, very similarly, like can just go into the tank very, very quickly. And he, unlike Jeanty, like does legitimately split time. Singletary got the 1 yard touchdown. Tracy was, I think, like 40% owned in cash. Like, I don't think he was bad, but I didn't view him as like, I thought he was fine. And I was like, Nate, I assume the same with you. You were like, well, I definitely am playing Mayer. So I really only have two. Well, we'll get to what Nate did. So Nate played, Nate played fucking Tyler Warren instead of Tyrone Tracy. I don't even know where you get this shit, man. I could have rolled 20 tight end guesses before I would have gotten to $4,400 Tyler Warren for Nate in cash.
Nate, your brand is in goddamn shambles right now, my friend. Like, what the fuck is this?
Okay, so
you have Trey McBride with the greatest tight end matchup of all time in a game that has like a team an over under of 53.5, the highest of the slate. I mean, it is just prime. And you're like, nah, you know what? I got to go with Jonathan Taylor, who hasn't, I mean, he's fine. And he was a fine play. I realized the mid-level RB suck, but bro, like that wasn't the guy to spend 7,800 on in the slate. Like, no, it's been over for Taylor for a while.
JT was the play. JT is the sharp play that I feel so good about. And seeing the ownership percentages I got on him in tournaments too, JT should have smashed here. JT
in tournaments, whatever. No, Nate, Jonathan Taylor in cash with fucking Phillip Rivers.
You're rolling out Tyrone Tracy, who can't even beat out a dead Devin Singletary. Singletary has come out from the dead, and you play Tyrone Tracy at 5,600, or you go, hey, I'll play ETN at 7,100. ETN, he can't fail. It's not like the Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence, who's played out of his mind for 4 games in a row. And then I'm going to keep betting on that. I'm going to keep betting on Trevor Lawrence suddenly becoming the most efficient quarterback in the game. I'm going to keep betting on Travis Etienne, who's like now such a great play because Bijan Tootin is out. Like, no, we know who Etienne is. We know who Trevor Lawrence is. And we also know who Jonathan Taylor is. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs.
Nate, you're right about this. You're right about this. Tracy was a shit play. And Etienne was a shit play. You're absolutely right. But you have to understand, building cash lineups is not just about a player, right? It's about kind of the whole lineup.
It's about the whole lineup, Nathaniel.
And so what we did allowed us to get Trey McBride in the lineup. What you did didn't let you get Trey McBride in the lineup. It's an L for you. It's a big L.
Dude, Nate
Taylor had like 25 expected DraftKings points, and you guys were this close to him just shoving your faces.
No, we weren't. That's the thing. At no point were we that close. It was never, ever threatening for Jonathan Taylor to do that. At no point. At any stage of the game, Jonathan Taylor was
4 carries within the 10-yard line that he didn't convert. That all year he's converted. This
okay,
was
well, he's still
lowest DraftKings over expected points. He had a 0.72 conversion percent, where all season he's been above 1. All season.
Well, maybe having a quarterback who can't throw it 10 yards past the line of scrimmage allows defenses to put a couple extra guys in the box. Have you considered that?
I have, but I've also considered the Jonathan Taylor 7,800 is not something I'm going to fade in this spot.
Dude,
I legitimately you guys are so bad with these running backs that you're rolling out here. You're convincing yourselves that this is a good play. Tyler Warren and Jonathan Taylor.
Dude, okay. Jonathan Taylor, I'll kind of give it to you. Tyler Warren is fucking egregious, man. Tyler Warren is like 4,400. This is like the same thing as Nate just randomly spending $4,000 on a defense. Tyler Warren, bro.
There were weeks where you guys legitimately played Tyler Warren over Tre McBride straight up.
When Daniel Jones was his quarterback.
The same price. Tyler Warren.
That never happened.
Yes, it did.
No, it did. It did 1 week. It did 1 week.
I was the only one who played Tre McBride. You all played Tyler Warren, and he dunked on me. And I will forever remember that you played Tyler Warren straight up over Tre McBride.
You got to adjust for quarterback play, buddy. We faded McBride with Kyler as his quarterback.
Oh yeah, that was in the Kyler days. That was different.
$3,000 adjustment.
That's different.
I think
different.
I think JT and Warren here is over Tre McBride and Tyrone Tracy.
No, Tyler Warren here is so fucking bad, dude.
Tyler Warren has been dust for 2 months, man. Haven't you been watching football? It's over. He had 3 nice games, and all the season-long bros were like, Tyler Warren, tight end 2. And it's like, no, dude. He's not even as good as
Tyler Warren
legitimately had 9 targets last week. He legitimately had 9 targets last week.
How many did Tre McBride have last week?
How many did he have this week?
I can't even with this. You guys are fading Jonathan Taylor.
We're not playing last week, Nate. We're playing this week. And
we played Nate. We played
was going windmill.
We just locked in 20 points at tight end.
Yeah.
Just locked it in.
Why wouldn't you?
I'm honestly,
it's so easy.
I'm frankly, honestly, Nate, I really thought you were going to come and you were going to say, you know what? I was wrong. I played bad. I should have done something else. I should have started with McBride and then figured it out from there.
McBride was 7,500. You guys are playing him at his peak.
I think
He's
he was
less expensive
7,800.
than Jonathan. He's less
he?
expensive than Jonathan Taylor.
No, it was 75. Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor has 24 expected DraftKings points.
How many expected fantasy points did McBride have? He had like 19 targets.
Yeah, McBride had 24 real DraftKings points.
Yeah. Tell me how many more expect, because I guarantee McBride
No,
had
he
more
had less. He had 22 expected DraftKings points. Jonathan Taylor had 24. Jonathan Taylor did get stuffed within the
field. So it's Joe Mixon expected points, where getting stuffed gives you more expected points. That's fake.
Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon points. I will take those because that's a bet worth taking.
I will give you this. Basically, so the slot where I played ETN, there wasn't really anyone that I felt that good about at that. Like, I didn't want to play Jonathan Taylor. I tell you who I considered. I actually considered playing Barkley. Like, Barkley in the rain against Buffalo. And that would have been the Tyler Shuck version of this team. It would have been Shuck, Barkley, and then I think like a more expensive defense, if I remember correctly. Because Barkley against the Bills have that awful, they're dead last in explosive run rate a lot. And obviously the issue is Barkley couldn't do a fucking explosive run against a high school team at this point, it feels like. But I did think about it. I pondered it. That he probably would have been like not owned at all.
No, Barkley got steamed.
How owned was Tyler Warren in cash, Nate? I think I can find your team. Nope, never mind. I can't.
He was like 6% owned or 5% owned or something.
By the way, so this is very funny. So I finished 191st in the big $50 double up, like the biggest one, in a huge train, because I think my team was if you locked McBride in Opto. So I think it was like relatively common, but then the other huge train, I beat it by, what is that? The Tracy team, 1 point. I beat it by less than a point. So the 2v2 was Diggs and Tracy versus McBride and Tucker. And so that 2v2 must have won by like a really light amount. Yeah.
Let me just tell you something, Boyo. You lucked the fuck out. Like,
okay, let's talk about Diggs.
Well, let's not. I mean, we should, but let's talk about you. You did this really sharp thing where you played McBride, but to do it, what did you do? You played 1, 2, 3 Raiders in cash. 3
Easy
Raiders
game.
in cash. You are lucky as balls that you survived and made any money today. Like, you got to come off that. You can't have that. This team is dust.
Well, it's not, because I don't even think you treat Jeanty like a Raider here. So and I don't even really think Meyer is irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
It feels relevant to me when the team isn't going to score any points.
Why did you not go down to Kyle Williams?
So I had Kyle Williams in for most of it.
Like, that's a Davis play.
So I had Kyle Williams in, and ultimately the reason why I didn't play Kyle Williams is actually the same reason I didn't play the Diggs team. I was like, this team's dropping back 15 times. Like, which is not to say that 2 of the guys can't get there, but it's going to be a little bit of whack-a-mole. Like, Efton Chisholm ended up getting, and I think Efton Chisholm saw 2 targets and Kyle Williams saw 4. But
should have played Chisholm.
Like, and we're gonna get into Kyle Williams, who maybe is the worst tournament play. Like, we've had like a worst tournament play of the year. I got two that are truly all time in my spy lineup. Really, really bad. But yeah, like what I decided with Diggs and with Kyle Williams is I'm like, yeah, I'm sure May is gonna go nuclear here, but it could be like 1 to Austin Hooper, 1 to fucking Demario Douglas, 1 to Chisholm, 1 to Diggs. Like, I didn't know if there was enough meat on the bone. Now, obviously, Diggs ends up smashing with what did he get? He got the bonus.
25. He didn't have a catch after halftime, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he literally basically sat down. Like, Davis, you're lucky he didn't put up 40 on you.
Well, that's literally that's not luck. That's exactly what I knew was going to happen. You thought the Jets were going to get the Patriots to play 4 quarters?
You also said Jonathan Taylor was going to be out after 2 quarters.
May throw 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're trying to get him the MVP. And he may have won it when Josh Allen missed that last throw for the 2-pointer, by the way. That might have been
Stafford, I think, is still the favorite, right?
Well, regardless, my man, you said that Jonathan Taylor was going to be out after 2 quarters. Like, at some point, you got to play some good players. And Stephon Diggs is a good player. Like, you had to know ball.
Well, I was definitely worried about that with Taylor because I didn't really understand why Rivers was playing. And then I thought about it for a little bit. And I realized the reason why Rivers was still playing was that they didn't know that game was going to be meaningless until the Texans won. So they wouldn't have thrown Leonard in with no reps as the starting quarterback. So I guess if I would have thought through that further, I'd been like, okay, well, I guess Jonathan Taylor is going to play the whole game. I'm not saying Diggs was a bad play, but I'm saying the reason why I didn't play Kyle Williams and the reason, like, weirdly, in a sense, when you're playing 2 Raiders punt guys in Meyer and Tucker, you're like, well, at least they're going to fucking throw 40 times because they are giga ass and they're going to be down the whole game. It's the same thing as when we did remember we did 4 Cardinals in cash. Like when these teams are missing a huge salary guy who's a huge chunk of the offense and the dynamic pricing doesn't have a chance to adjust, there's a reason why the opto floods with those guys. It's because the numbers have to be disseminated amongst players who cost a lot less.
But when Geno Smith is your quarterback, you have to account for historical inefficiency.
Yeah, and Pete Carroll's still the coach. Like, they were down the whole game.
All right, you know what? I'll take this from Sammy. I'm not fucking taking this from Nate, who quadruple stacked the Raiders without anybody out. Without anyone.
Here's the thing. I got to just say this. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this chat window, and people are in here trying to explain to me how good Trey McBride is at football. You guys don't know anything. I literally play Trey McBride more than anybody.
Your brand isn't huge.
He is my brand. But at $7,500, when you're trying to build a lineup on DraftKings.com, you have to be salary considerate. And at $7,500, this was not the week.
This was like the week to me, looking at the screen.
It was Nate. It's the week, dude.
This is the week to play Jonathan Taylor.
It was always the week.
The trading price is $57, and people are playing Tyler Warren over him straight up.
No, dude. I didn't make a single lineup. Not cash, not GPP, not nothing.
I played McBride and Chase in every lineup on everything that I submitted.
Of course.
Well, he hit 23, and he didn't even do it for you.
Actually, in the context of the slate, he did because no one went super nuke really. I had one other thing to say that I forgot. I mean, I do just want everyone to remember that the guy lecturing us about the Raiders right now once played Geno, Jacoby Myers, and Tre Tucker all in cash together.
Listen, I quadruple stacked Justin Fields Jets with 3 pass attempts. I am
like some people, by the way, played Geno in this because they took the thought that Sammy had and extended it further because they're like, well, if I have all these Raiders, that to me is actually bad because the way that this chalk lineup is constructed, you can have one of the Raiders fail. You can have Tre Tucker fail and still be. I mean, Tre Tucker basically. I mean, 9 points. Like he didn't fail. He did whatever, but. Yeah. It doesn't really matter.
Hey, do you want to tell people the lineups?
Yes. Okay. So I played Lawrence, Jeanty, ETN, Tucker, Jamar Chase, Jacoby Myers, Trey McBride, Michael Mayer, Steelers. Nate played Joseph Burrow, Ashton, Jeanty, Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Warren, Michael Mayer, and the Steelers. Sammy played Burrow, Jeanty, Tracy, Chase, Diggs, Myers, McBride, Mayer, and the Browns defense. All of which are fine.
Yeah, Browns defense, by the way, like all-time ball nowhere take. Like you had to know the Steelers.
That's who like I played them. I played them in tournaments. I thought they were fine. I thought there were a bunch of playable defenses today because I thought the Panthers were in play at 2,100.
Yeah, I played them in a tourney lineup. I mean, the thing that sucked about the Browns is Aaron Rodgers is such a stone-ass coward that it's pretty hard.
He never throws a pick.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, but still, they still got 9 for 2.5K. It's great.
Yeah. So, look, all that was just a little bit of a prelude to next week, Cash Game Week. Of course, Mr. Overzet is going to be joining us here on the show. If you want to send invites to all of us, it's Whirling Dervish. You'll never be able to find Nate and Davis Maddock. Okay. I'm going to pull up
just post 200 heads like tomorrow so that people can find. Yeah.
Okay. So I have one. Yes, Sammy.
Can we talk about my lineup that won this thing? Because
I mean, it's just you just played Diggs.
Yeah. I played Diggs and I played McBride. Like, I made this lineup last night. I got home late after a long poker session. It was 1 a.m. and I made the lineup and I said, you know what? This is the lineup, and I never moved off it. That's very that's very rare for me. I usually tinker on Sunday morning. I was just like, this is it. I found it. It's great. I got 3 receivers that I like. I got 2 value running backs that I felt pretty good about. You know, Tracy's a little suspect, but whatever. Like, for his price, I think he's great. The Burrow to Chase with McBride coming back. I mean, I put this in the goddamn power sweep. I mean, I just threw it in the power sweep. It projected. It simmed well too. Like, this was the lineup, man. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, I like, in the end, like, obviously the thing that is different about this is that you didn't use a 7K running back slot, which after seeing the results feels fine. I don't like ETN obviously could have had a much bigger day. Taylor could have had a much bigger day. Tracy could have had a much bigger day if he wasn't Tyrone Tracy and in a timeshare with Devin Singletary. But no one who got owned at running back in cash really did anything.
Yeah, people played really bad at running back this week. Like, really bad.
Dude, some people play Jonathan Taylor in cash. Fucking crazy.
No, I mean, the fact that Chase Brown was in play, and Chase Brown was only like 15%.
Chase Brown with P. Ryan in his role is not really.
That hasn't been true for like 3.5 or 4 weeks. But
he's like the RB4 in the second half of the season. I mean,
it has been true. Do you guys know why it hasn't been true?
Even with P. Ryan doing what he's doing, Chase Brown is still the RB4.
P. Ryan has gotten hurt and left the game each of the last 2 weeks, including, by the way, today. So if you can keep prognosticating that P. Ryan is going to keep leaving games for multiple quarters with injuries, then yes, I think you should play Chase Brown. Might have
had like 22.5. Like, he was. Anyway, Chase Brown, I think, was a good play. I think that ETN was a bad play. Gainwell got played.
Gainwell is horrible. That is
horrible.
I thought
that's
Gainwell,
that's phone shitter, box score watcher. Like, you can't. No, the Steelers were never going to score a single touchdown today. It was never in the range of outcomes. Their expected touchdowns were 0.34 this week. Never happening.
Yeah. So, Sammy, I think your team could have gotten smashed if more people played Chase or JT smashed. Well, no one played JT. So, like, no one played these 7K running backs. So everybody played ETN or Saquon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. But you live by the blade, you die by the blade.
You die by the blade. I just started with Trey McBride and I built around that. It never occurred to me not to play Trey McBride.
I agree. Wiggins told me this morning or yesterday morning that he had a dream that in his dream, I told him that McBride was a lock. That you could not win money without McBride. So I was like, dude, that's a fucking sign. That's got to be a sign, right? I mean, come on. It doesn't get better than that. All right. I did one really bad team that just ended up being like such chalk donkey bullshit. Here you go. So here's the Jacoby Brissett, Jeanty at 1,000,000,000% owned, Barkley at 23%. Kyle Williams. What am I doing here, man? Kyle Williams is so bad here. 25% owned Kyle Williams, dude. Send me to prison. Now, Michael Wilson,
GPP play of the year.
Now, well, wait till we get to the end of this lineup. Michael Wilson at 5%. I mean, that is like generational. That is so good. Marvin Harrison Jr. sucks. He played like 4 snaps a day and then limped off.
So good.
Jamar Chase, 57%. So obviously I knew that Jacoby, McBride, Chase, it's all going to be super smash. What I thought was that Michael Wilson would be low owned. Correct. I did not think Kyle Williams would be 25%. That was very incorrect. The big issue here is a 15% owned Taysom Hill. I mean, that is some wretched, putrid, idiot shit. Now, Taysom did get the first carry of the game, and the Saints did smash. But what became pretty clear was that all the Taysom usage last week was literally like, farewell, brother.
I think you had to know. It was hard to account for, but like that was my take. Is that was the farewell? Like, no way. He's been, dude. He can barely move anymore. He's been woefully inefficient all season. It was awesome for him to have that game last week. It was really cool, but like I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I mean, and obviously you play Mayer on this team, you get more points, but you're still eating the chalk.
Yeah.
I was happy with the Michael Wilson.
Were you? What did you have the Arizona team total at this week? Just like
mental model 37 points.
Because like Vegas had them in points. So instead of just donking off money on DraftKings and DFS, you could have just bet their team total because like according to you, they were off by 10 in the markets. They had like a 20.5 team total.
300 yards from Jacoby, 1 passing touchdown to Michael Wilson, 1 to McBride, and this team I mean, that's like if you go back and look at the games where they smashed, they only scored like 24 points. It's just that they kept chucking. There just was no chucking here. There was some chucking, but it was delayed chucking.
Brissett had 37 attempts.
Dude, he set the NFL goddamn record for completions in a game. They lost by 20. So yeah. I'm not applying like the Jacoby and obviously the Jacoby thing to bring back the Christmas cookie analogy. Like you can throw them out. Like we could be done here. We could be done.
And Michael Wilson is now 64.
I'll look. This lineup sucks, but Michael Wilson at 5% is like a giga.
Yeah, Michael Wilson should be 8,400, my man. Like,
yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Were you using that Michael Wilson was a value? Like at 6,400, he was one of the.
I'm using the projections that were wrong. The Marvin Harrison Jr. projection was wrong. It was giving I think here I can pull it up and see what the Run the Sims had on him, and I can tell you what I ran it at. I bet Run the Sims had him for like 21%. Yeah. So this is just wrong. It's not what I ran this at all. Hold on. So Marvin Harrison Jr. for 16%, and Michael Wilson for 14%. I mean, love Run the Sims. Think it's a hard spot to project. They're wrong. Michael Wilson should be 24% minimum. Elijah Higgins should not be 11%. Elijah Higgins should be like 4%. What happens with projections is they start to get really wonky when you have guys who are in and out and like the data that's feeding into it. Like all the data that we use on the back end for the Cardinal stuff is like all wonky because to take people really inside baseball, the way Run the Sims does it is based on it comes back from routes run and then normalizes it based on that. And when the route run data is garbage, it's just hard for it to get to a good algorithmic spot. So you have to make some judgment calls. But basically, Michael Wilson, even the ETR projection, love Leone. I think those guys do a great job. Their projection was wrong too because they just middled it. They gave both of them like 12 points, which is to me, I think is wrong.
Yeah, there hasn't been a game this year where like they both did good.
Where they both have done well. Yes.
One's the alpha and one's not, and so Wilson was the alpha. I agree.
Yeah. So the team, the team was terrible. It was bad. I like
the reasoning though. Like if you think the market's projections are wrong, you should jam those guys in at 5%.
Well, probably not Jacoby at 13%, but Michael Wilson was good. This team I am actually very proud of. So this was in the red zone. Could have had a little bit of a sweat maybe if the running backs had done anything. But this is maybe my crown jewel play. So Tyler Shuck at 8%. ETN.
Terrible at 7.
So Trevion Henderson got 19 rushes, by the way. So I think he probably was fine. Jamar Chase, Chris Olave. You might notice the red flame next to Kevin Austin Jr. at 0.5% owned.
Wow.
4 receptions, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Trey McBride, Michael Mayer, and the Browns defense. I was very proud of mining out that Kevin Austin Jr. touchdown with
this is
with
really
Chuck.
this is really something, man. I would have liked to see a Chigakonkwo bring back in this lineup, perhaps.
Would
But
Chig have
man,
even made this lineup better? I guess
no,
I guess Chase Brown you had to play at running back, and I was never getting to Chase Brown.
yeah, Chig ended up with 3 for 55 and a touchdown, so that's 14.5. Yeah,
Well,
he didn't
here,
score
let's see
as many as Mayer.
what won the red zone. So Lawrence, Chase Brown, Ramondre. Had to have Ramondre. Chase, Diggs, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, Wandale, and the Giants. Yeah. So Ramondre, Chase Brown, Diggs, and then not I guess. So this team you actually didn't have to play McBride. I think the spy winner did have McBride. Yeah. I don't know. But
I mean, I guess you're using just different projections than I would like. I think that Travion is like one of the worst plays on the board at 6,400, 8%.
He was too expensive for sure.
He was 6,400. But yes, I also
he's not even the number one running back of the team. Ramondre getting that, and Ramondre gets passing work too. Like 10 rushes from a guy who's like
the Travion thesis is not going to be rooted in value, Nate. It's going to be
you're
rooted
just hoping to break a 40-yard touchdown.
This is what
which he's shown a marked proclivity to do this year, by the way.
Yeah, and against the Jets, like it's the same thing as like, well, Diggs got their uninsane efficiency, or hoping Kyle Williams gets their inefficiency. It's against the Jets. This is what Run the Sims had. We had 42% of the carries for Henderson, 35% for Ramondre, 11% of the targets for Henderson, 7% for Ramondre. The carries ended up being right because Henderson had 19, Ramondre had 9, I think. But Stevenson was he wasn't the passing down back. He just happened to get there via the pass. But when these games get shortened like this, the touch numbers are going to be weird. I'm 8% is complete to me, seems completely reasonable on Henderson. It's a little bit of a ball knowing play.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a whirling dervish here who ran the has never once gotten there. T and Jamar Chase in the same game.
Yeah, I mean, this was basically, like I said, I used my cash lineup in the power sweep. This was the spy. I essentially took that lineup and just made like little tweaks on it to try to get to where I wanted to get. But this was essentially like my cash lineup, and then get up to T Higgins. Okay, what do I do to get up to T Higgins? Well, I just go down to the Panthers, and I think that's all I did. I think it was a 2v2. Is that right?
Yeah, literally a 2v2. Nate, this did not sim very well in your stuff because of Jeanty and Jacoby. Why is this not simming that good in your stuff?
Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, T
Higgins.
T came in really high. T at 20%. T was like the fourth owned receiver in this contest, which really hurts you. So when you go on in a stack and you have, basically you eat ownership in all the wrong ways. Because T was really high owned. I mean, he came in. Yeah, that hurts. So
super high. The other thing that hurts is the Panthers defense. I mean, people, I feel like these defenses that are like 2,000, 2,100, 22, 2,300 will always like have a little higher percentage. They'll be more owned than we think because people just jam in stuff and then they're like, I need a super cheap defense to get what I want. And then it goes up a little bit. I kind of sucks.
And sometimes and sometimes it's hard for me to tell in these sims, but I think I would guess that Burrow, T, Chase specifically was like that combined ownership was also super high. And so sometimes that happens where it's like the ownership itself, that number might not look crazy off, like, oh, T at 20%. But if all of T is tied with Burrow and Chase, then you're just like your whole stack is sunk.
For sure. I what I would have liked to see here, I mean, I think with these like single entry contests like the spy, having like mass correlation is really good. What I would have liked to see out of myself with this lineup is it's easy to say now because he smashed, but to get Chase Brown in, because like you're talking about, that increases like all this correlation in terms of the juggernaut for the Bengals. But it's just going to be the Bengals stacks are going to be, everybody knows, Levitan won 250K a couple years ago with the Burrow Higgins Chase. Everybody knows that's the thing to do because it's a concentrated thing. If you get Chase Brown in there in addition or instead of Higgins, if you need to, but like that differentiation, I think to your point, Nate, would go a long way with a lineup like this.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to know exactly why something sims negative, but then when you dig into like the finer correlations, you see the groupings and go like, oh, this lineup was just in a huge clump, even if the raw ownerships don't look that crazy.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Nathaniel, you have curious. Nate's own sim gives him 1,000,000,000% ROI on this team. Jackson Dart, Devin A. Chain, Chase Brown, Jacoby Myers, Step Diggs, Wandale, Meyer, Jeanty, and the Steelers defense.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the numbers are always going to be inflated for your own sim, but the reason this simmed well is because number one, Chase Brown leverage off of the T ownership. So you got the Chase Brown. Chase Brown ends up being like only 18% is really good. The Jacoby Mayer, they came in way under owned. Jeanty actually, even though he was 46% owned, he should have been probably 60% owned based on his projection. Like he was such a good play. And then the Wandale Dart just didn't get played as much as I thought it would either. And so at 5% and 12%, the Wandale Dart thing turned out pretty well. And this actually did do okay. I mean, this was top 100 in the SPY. So this finished pretty well too.
Yeah, this is a cool team. You stacked the shit out of that ugly ass tank bowl, and everybody smashed.
Obviously I love Jackson Dart and think he's awesome. I just am so nervous about how horrible the play calling has been. And then they get in the tank off bowl, they get in the game for the 101, and they're like, all right, dude, let's go, Dart, 2 rushing touchdowns, naked bootleg on 4th down. It's like, where the fuck did this come from?
Last week they had no interest in throwing the ball at all. Like I was like, yeah, I was scared of their volume. Like I sat Wandale in a important fantasy league because I was like, yeah, dude, like I can't take the chance that Dart drops back 17 times in this game. But when you're playing a tournament, it's good. This is good.
Yeah, it is. All right, boys. Well, there you go. Huge week on the program next week. Potentially the biggest week on the program, as we are going to be joined by Mr. Peter Oberzet for Cash Game Week. So make sure that you're ready. Make sure that you're in the streets for the most important week in fantasy football history. Make sure that you like the video. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and we'll see you back